Good day, East Texas. Let's do big things together. I'm big on news, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, and community. And being intentional to me is about bringing a commitment and attention to topics, people, and facts to try to reflect what's most important. During March for Women's History Month, I'm conducting an interview series featuring remarkable women from across East Texas and across the nation. And in this inaugural series, I am talking with Barbara Bass, a servant leader and Tyler's former mayor. Barbara, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so honored to talk with you and to get to know a little bit about you. And I'm sure because you're the former mayor, a lot of people in the community know you. But if you don't mind, would you just start by just telling us a little bit about who Barbara Bass is?
Well, that's a really pretty easy question. On most days you get all 5 feet 2 inches of me.
Yeah, but you bring a big game.
Yeah, I grew up in East Texas. I grew up actually in Longview, and when I was mayor, the mayor over there was going, how does somebody from Longview ever get to be mayor of Tyler?
Yeah.
And it happened. I'm here to tell you about it. But I grew up in a large family and went to Longview High School and graduated from there, went to college, and ended up in Tyler after that. Did a whole career in public accounting. Spent my whole career as a CPA.
Yeah.
And got involved in the community, and just kind of the rest is history. Started serving on one board and another board, and moving up to chair the different boards, and kind of ran out of boards to chair, so I decided I'd run for mayor.
And you won that, turned out, and then you're still serving on boards now, right?
Oh yes, I've got a lot of experience, and I just seem to keep finding places that God wants to use me, and I just jump in with both feet.
That's good. That's good. Well, you're answering the calls. And so you mentioned education, and as I was reading about you, I read that your father wasn't able to obtain his education because he had to support his family by working on the farm. And I thought, well, I can relate to Barbara because my late grandfather, he also couldn't obtain his education because he was supporting his family, 8 kids. And then my mom, she went to college for a few hours, but she was supporting 2 kids as a single mother and wasn't able to obtain her education either. And so through that, those 2 and other people told me, you really need to put some emphasis on your education and go after it. So that encouraged me to attend UT Tyler and then go on to law school. But what was the pivotal moment in your life that made you that inspired you to go get your education and to value it?
Well, my dad was really big on education. He was one of 10 kids, the oldest boy, and in the 20s, 30s, he was growing up. You're talking about the Great Depression during that time period, and he had to quit school just to help his parents, help his dad be on the farm and get the rest of the kids in the family fed. So he was really big on education. He went from there and got into doing industrial construction and made a career out of that. And it was really hard fiscal labor. He did really a great job. Whatever he did it full force. He really put everything into it. But he emphasized how important education was, and he always wished he had been able to finish his high school. He didn't even get to college.
Yeah.
So it was a different time, and he saw that as we were growing up, and particularly as young girls, how important it was for us to get an education. Right. He wanted to make sure we always had a way to support ourselves if anything ever happened and we were having to do it on our own.
Right.
So he was my biggest encourager.
Yeah.
And just very, very important in my life.
Yeah. What's his name?
Travis.
Travis. I always like to know the names of the people who someone says that is important to them. And so you mentioned that education, that Travis felt that education is important for young girls. So I felt that way when I went to law school. I felt that in order for me to get a seat at some tables, I needed to get an advanced degree. And I feel like going to law school, it did just that. And so would you agree that getting your education was what helped you get through some doors?
Oh, definitely. And particularly in a business environment. Having that degree in accounting opened a lot of doors. Not just the experience I was getting in accounting, but there's always a board that wanted a treasurer. I tried not to do very many of those. I went like, okay, give me marketing, something I don't do all the time. But I still was invited on to a lot of boards because of the experience I was picking up in accounting. But being on boards, you have to come because of what you're bringing to the board.
Right.
But the first thing you have to do is show up.
Yeah.
And people go, how do you get involved? It's not hard. You have to show up.
Yeah.
And I know one of the first boards I got involved in was for the National Association of Accountants. And I didn't have my CPA certificate at that time. But one of the partners in the firm I worked in suggested this was a good way to get involved and start giving back to my profession. So I showed up, and of course this was 1977, 1978. I was the first woman accountant in the organization, and I showed up, and one of the guys went, "Who let you in?" And the first few years I would show up, and if there was anything to do, I would volunteer to help whatever it was. And then, after about 3 years, if you didn't show up, they went, "Where were you?"
Right, yeah.
So it does make a difference. You have something to bring to the table.
Yeah.
You've got to be willing to give back. We can all work for a living, get a good education and work for a living, but that's serving ourselves, and I think we all have a responsibility to give back and serve others.
Yeah.
So getting involved somewhere, volunteering, whether it's at your kid's school, whether it's helping coach, whatever it is.
Yeah.
In my case, I started out with the accounting associations. I got involved in the Chamber of Commerce and just a lot of things in the community, and grew my not only just the volunteering, but my leadership skills in the process.
Right, and you're being modest here. You served a lot of people by serving as mayor of Tyler,
Yes.
and so I want to touch
that
on
was
that.
a pretty good gig.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, and so I want to touch on that. So when you became mayor, as you were going into that, what was your vision, and did you go in with a defined plan?
Well, I was really fortunate. Right before I was elected mayor, we had done a whole community-wide strategic plan. We initially called it Tyler 21, and then we changed it to Tyler First. But it was getting the community involved. Anyone that wanted to participate could come and be involved in some part of that. There were parts on downtown development. There were parts on economic development. There were parts on parks and recreation. It impacted the entire community. So right before I was elected, the community, the city, with its guiding it, the community had spoken what was important to them.
Yeah.
So I had what the community wanted. Tyler has been really good also about developing a plan and then working the plan. So it wasn't that it was just Barbara Bass's plan that I was coming in with some great agenda that I wanted everybody to do. It was what was best for Tyler.
Yeah.
And with what the community had said, what the council was engaged in, what I brought to the table, it gave us all an opportunity to work together. And we had so much community collaboration during the process. The day after, I think, or maybe the day I got sworn in and signed that little swearing-in certificate, the Great Recession hit Texas.
No.
So we did a lot of fun things. We had this plan, but a big part of the new plan, you had to do some base work to get it set up. You had to take little subsections of it and develop additional plans. So we did that. But then we did some really fun things to get the community engaged because we were in a great recession. And we did weight loss programs through the Northeast Texas Public Health District. And that was a lot of fun, getting people out. I went and walked in every park just about in town and met people there to get them to walk. And we did a lot of tree planting. I did a 5,000 trees in 5 years initiative. So we did a lot of fun things. And then, quite frankly, because of the economic situation, part of what we had to do is just make sure we really managed the budget and kept the lights on and kept all the basic services going.
Right.
So that was very important. So it wasn't a Barbara Bass plan.
Yeah.
It was all of us together and what was really needed in our community at that time.
Yeah, and I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked to hear you say that and to give everybody else credit, because as I was preparing for this interview, I called around, sent some text messages out and emails, said, hey, tell me what you remember about Mrs. Bass. Well, I got several responses that said, servant leader, she wants everybody to be together. She wants everybody to walk together. So I'm not shocked at all. I think those are tremendous compliments about you as a leader, that you wanted everybody to walk together and be united. So congrats to you and hats off to you to have that reputation.
Yeah. Anytime you're trying to do something for the greater community, you need to have good representation from the community.
Yeah.
So I tried to include people from north, south, east, west, because together was better and we could come out with a much better product.
Yep.
So it was just fun to work with everybody that was involved. And, you know, one person's passion might be on one thing, another one on another, but getting the right people in there that had the energy and the passion and the compassion
Right.
To do the project
Yeah.
and really do the planning that was needed before we jumped in and started trying to do anything, so that we had measurable results and we got the results that was really wanted for whatever that endeavor was.
Yeah.
It was just really a great fun. It was wonderful to see the impact long term that a person can have from being involved in something like that.
Yeah.
And it was fun to walk in, and, you know, and because I was mayor,
Yeah.
people got excited.
Yep.
And I know one time I was out at TJC for a ball game, and the little girl was on the other end of the parking lot and recognized me, and
Aw.
she started pulling on her mom's shirt or whatever and hollering, "Mama, it's the mayor." You know,
Yeah.
so there were fun moments like that.
Yeah.
But then the really serious part was all of the good that we were trying to do together to make the community stronger.
Yeah.
And to keep building on the foundation we have, because we've had a great foundation for years, and so to add and build on that and
Right.
just kind of set the bar higher for the next person coming in after me.
Yeah, exactly. And so, is there anything you'd do different?
I don't think, I mean, I'd love to know what it'd be like if I served when we had money to do anything. You know, I think the biggest challenge was just making sure that we were very good at managing the funds. One year we were under $1,000 to the positive for an entire budget for a city. And we were, you know, people would leave and we'd freeze the positions and just do everything we could to try to manage the resources. And you didn't do a lot of new projects. You planned for them so that when things got better. But overall, I don't know that there's anything I would have really done differently. I got in and every morning just said, "God, help me do the best I can." And I did that. And when I went to bed at night, I fell asleep because I was so tired from running so fast. And, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand that in Tyler, the mayor and the city council serve totally as volunteers.
I don't think people know that.
No,
Or not all people.
there is no pay to that other than I'm working on heavenly rewards.
Yeah.
But we all served as volunteers, and we almost all had full-time jobs. So I was still doing tax season.
Wow.
And then running here and there, and I had a few folks going, "Well, why can't you just stop and do come over here and do this?" I said, "I'm volunteering." "Oh, really?"
Yeah.
But it is a volunteer job, so the people that are there are doing it because they're passionate about being there, and they really have a servant's heart, and they want to make Tyler a better place.
Right. Well, that's amazing. I applaud you for doing that and volunteering and giving so much time to the community in East Texas. And so I want to go back to the little girl at the ball game that was pulling on her mom, saying, Mom, it's the mayor." Because, I mean, it just goes to show you, like, you don't even know the lives that you touched. You may have inspired that young lady to go on and try to be a mayor later in life. Wouldn't that be neat if she came to you and said, "You inspired me"? But it's not about, to me, it's not about the mountaintop. I think it's about the journey along the way. So how have some of the women in your life helped you achieve all that you have?
Well, early on, there were not that many women in the business environment I was working in. The firm I started in was one of the larger ones here in East Texas, in Tyler, and I was their one-woman accountant. But within 5 years, by the time I left there, almost half of the accounting staff were women. I was just on the cusp of that change. And then, of course, once they started coming in, I tried to inspire them. And then as I got more involved in the community, because there were women in other industries, I have a lot of women that were encouraging and inspiring. When I decided to run for mayor, I mentioned it to a friend of mine, and she had been involved in the community, and she became my one-person exploratory committee. And she started calling and telling everybody she knew, every event she went to. And then I started getting phone calls, so very, very supportive. And then now I try to give back. I said, you show up, but then once you show up, you need to step up because you need to get involved, and you need to put everything you can into it.
Yeah.
But there's one more step that you and I have, and we need to reach back and pull up somebody behind us. Open that door
Yes,
and
amen.
reach out and get that hand and pull them in because someone got us to where we are.
Yes.
You know, we were made to be connected people, and by doing things together and by helping others, and any time you're doing that, you're paying forward what someone did for you.
Right.
So I have a number of young women, young professionals that I meet with on a pretty regular basis, and they're all at different points in their career, and I love investing in them, and I feel like it keeps me going because they're investing their time in me also.
Yeah.
It's fun to stay current and relevant on what's going on.
Yeah.
I met with some of them back in January and did a vision board with them, and they're at a different point in their life than I am now, but
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun just to do that and keep up with what's going on and what their goals and hopes are for this year. And then I have my little board is sitting in my office at home, and
Oh,
I look
that's
at
neat.
it and like, how am I doing on that, Barbara? Let's do a little checklist.
Yeah, yeah. Vision boards are so fun. It's
Oh,
so
they
nice
are
of you.
fun.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
nice of you to meet with these young ladies and mentor them. And
Oh,
so you
I love it too.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like when you do that, you think you're helping them, but then you end up getting more out of it.
Oh, you do.
Than
You
they
get
do.
so much out of it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I get so excited as I see them get promotions and grow in their careers.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun to be part of that and feel like that I've shared in some way with
Yeah.
all the conversations we've had and what they've dealt with, you know, that it really does keep me going.
Yeah, I think you answered my next question, but you said show up, step up, and pull up. But is there anything
Yeah.
else you would add
Well, I
to?
said put in.
Yeah. Oh, put in. You did. I missed
and
that part.
And
yeah.
pull up.
Yeah. And pull up.
Yeah.
So you said step up, show up, put in, and pull up.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So the 4 steps
Yeah.
of Barbara
Yeah,
Bass.
show up first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Show up first. Is there anything else that you would add as far as like what you think women in the community need from each other?
Historically, I think women have the rap of not helping each other as much. I have a friend that says there's a special place down for women that don't help each other.
Down. Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I think the best thing we can do is encourage each other.
Yeah.
And if you see something that might help me, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Don't just hope I might trip over it and find it. You know, share it with me and let me
Right.
do the same for you.
Yeah.
Because we can really just connect and help each other if we would just give that word of encouragement. I mean, just a text.
Yeah.
Say, hey, you know, I saw you on the news last night. You did a great job. Keep up the good work. Just
Right.
those little nudges and just encouragement does so much for a person.
Yeah. I agree. You never know.
And if they need a little guidance, do it in a nice way. You know, have you ever thought about this?
Yeah.
Or when I was doing that once, you know, you can fit in all those little stuff. But do a positive approach
Yeah.
and help build that person up and encourage them.
Right. No, I agree. I think that you never know, just the power of one word can help someone
Yes.
so much. So I'm with you on that, and just being uplifting and encouraging and sending gentle reminders.
Yes.
What do you think is the importance of Women's History Month?
History is important because it lets us, first of all, see where we've been.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll see the gains we've made and we'll build on those. And we won't have to start from scratch with all of the things that my generation went through. I hope you're not having to go through some of the same things. So I think it's very important from that perspective of the gains. It's also important of just the milestones. You know, I was in the Chamber of Commerce building one day, and someone was saying, well, they've got all these men's pictures around the wall. Why do we need them? I said, because they have those pictures. When you get over to this side, they finally had a woman that was chair of the chamber. I happen to be that woman.
Yeah.
And when you look from there, there's a whole lot of women after that. But I wouldn't have been there had it not been for the encouragement of those guys that were in the chamber involved in everything when I was getting involved, because they were encouraging me.
Right.
You know, some of them treated me like I was their daughter. They just sort of took me under their wings. So anytime you're looking at history, you need to look at it from the perspective that it's a foundation that we can build on. There are parts of history that are not pretty, but we've learned from them, hopefully, and we'll keep learning. There will be generations that learn from what we did and thinking that we didn't do some things right.
Right.
but it's all part of who we are in this world and where we are today, and then what can we do to improve and make things better for the next generation.
Yeah, and hopefully be just a stable path forward, because you know what not to do, what worked well, and just keep moving forward.
And of course, human nature, we're going to mess up a few times in there too. That's just the way it is.
Yeah, exactly. No, for sure.
But just go for the best.
Yep, exactly. So if you could give yourself a piece of advice to younger Barbara Bass, what would that be? Knowing all that you've accomplished now, what would that piece of
Knowing
advice
all
be?
that I've accomplished. Well, I would have liked speech a whole lot better in college.
Yeah.
I was actually very shy at one point, very reserved, maybe more than shy. Had to get over that. And probably would have taken more psychology classes. But I think if I was giving myself advice, it would just be what we all hear from other people and what we've told ourselves. Don't be afraid. You know, get out there and try it. You don't know if it's going to work, but you do know if you don't try, it will not work.
Yes.
So get out there and try it. And I love the definition of fear, false evidence appearing real. And that's my favorite definition.
Yeah.
And
Will you repeat that again?
False evidence appearing real.
I like that.
And so much of what we worry about never comes true. So just step off the cliff and see where you get with it.
Right.
I did that when I left the very first accounting job I had to go with 3 guys that wanted to start a new firm. And I went with them and told them going in, I want to be a partner in this firm, and I'm going to do my part bringing in business and building me that book of business, so you want me to be partner.
Right.
And about, I don't know, a few weeks into that or a few months into that, I woke up about 2 a.m. one morning thinking, oh my gosh, what I've done. what haven't done. And then I just kind of felt like God was my safety net. And I just kept moving forward, and I had the career that I invested in, and all the doors kept opening because I kept showing up.
Yeah.
And it was a great career, but I think just the fear holds so many people back. So just remember, it is false evidence appearing real, and we don't want to do anything that's false, so just don't worry about the fear and step out.
Yeah, I think that's such great advice. I've never heard that phrase before, and I'm not
I
going
found
to
that
forget
somewhere,
it.
and I love it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Okay, so I have a couple more questions before I let you go, but what are your plans for the future? What are you working on right now?
Well, at this point in my life, I sold out of my CPA practice. So I'm serving on a lot of boards. I still have some small things I do on some business I'm invested in, a little bit of consulting on my own investments, and a lot of nonprofit organizations that I work with. I think I'm on about 10 boards, give or take. And so I'm doing that. One of the fun things I've done since I left the CPA world is I went to auctioneer school because our nonprofits that do fundraising have live auctions. They need an auctioneer. So we didn't have very many auctions here in Tyler. And I thought, well, that would be a good thing, and that's been a blast.
Yeah, I bet.
I had to learn how to say a lot of tongue twisters very quickly, and I can do my chant pretty well. At least with nonprofits, you don't talk quite as fast because you're talking, basically, you're not talking with people that deal with an auctioneer every day, so you've got to talk a little bit slower. And since I'm from East Texas, I can talk slow.
Yeah, you can. That's funny.
I can drag it out as much as I need to. So anyway, it's been a lot of fun, so I can get out there and bid it at a 1, at a 2, at a 3, and raise some money for a good cause. And that's been just a lot of fun to do that and see the results of helping a nonprofit achieve their goals for their annual fundraiser or whatever the event is. So anyway, that's just been a little bit of fun thing. And then just the boards I'm serving on I'm involved in Camp V, which is our Veterans Initiative here. And I'm involved obviously in my church and a number of other boards. And so I have plenty to do.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And go hang out with friends every chance I can. And my husband and I are traveling a little bit more since I'm not working,
That's good.
full-time plus all the time. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah,
Well, you
it's-
find
it's
ways to
good.
give back, just even as an auctioneer. That is so. I wish I would have. I missed the mark. I should have gotten a video of you doing that to play today. That would have been so much fun.
Well, you may have to MC an event when I auction.
Oh, I would like that. Let's do. That's a deal. That's a deal. So
That would be good.
Is there anything I haven't asked you that you think would be beneficial for the community to know just about you, or any advice you have that you want to share before I let you go?
The main thing I would say is if you want to be involved in this community, whether it is at a small scale or a large scale, maybe it's just on a small board that you're passionate about, maybe it's getting involved in running for an office or whatever. Don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
You know, get ready though. Don't be afraid, but don't walk up on the last day that you need to apply to enter a race and
Right.
and not have anything that you've developed. You're talking about what you bring to the table. Start with those small organizations. Get comfortable being on boards. Get comfortable at giving back, at growing from being the worker bee like I was when I started to moving into leadership positions, and then go to a bigger board. You can really grow your experience
Right.
on being involved. And there's a way for all of us to help. And you may be comfortable being in the background and just always doing, or maybe you've led a while and you want to do like that flight of birds and you want to go to the back and let somebody else take the lead for a while.
Right.
But you can get involved, and with all of us working together, we can make Tyler and East Texas an even more wonderful place than it's been.
Yeah.
Let's leave a great legacy for our siblings, our kids, our future
Yeah.
leaders in this community.
Yeah, and you've already done that. So again, I applaud you for serving this community and for all you've done to give back to this community and all the lives that you've touched. And so East Texas, you heard it yourself, the advice from Barbara Bast to show up. No, step up.
No, you got to show
up. You got to show up
You gotta
first. Show up first. What's the next
up.
step up? Put in and pull up, right? So,
it.
yes, such great advice. And so I just encourage you to stay tuned for more in-depth interviews with other remarkable women from across East Texas and just across the surrounding areas. And so drop me a line. I have my email on the screen and also my social media handle. If you have another remarkable woman that you think would be great to interview, just please let me know. I'm Amanda Gaddison with East Texas Now, and would love to hear from you and would love to interview as many remarkable women as I can in Women's History Month. Thank you.